Emeka is the kind of husband that loves to show lovey-dovey romance in public, the type that will almost choke his wife with hugs whenever a crowd gathers and someone shouts, "Say cheese." In front of people, he becomes a complete movie star, opening doors, pulling chairs, throwing baby up and down as if Addis were made of glass and gold. But the moment their compound gate closes behind them and the hum of generators takes over, all that sweetness evaporates, leaving behind a man who barely looks at his wife, who would rather argue with the TV remote than say a simple goodnight to her. For 3 weeks before the family event, their house in Suralaya had been painfully quiet. All because Emeka came home one evening and the soup on the fire had not yet taken the way he wanted. He didn't shout, shouting would have been easier. Instead, he marched into a cold, punishing silence, answering Addis' greetings with a long hiss or by turning up the volume of the TV. She apologized again and again, explained how traffic had held her in the market, even knelt beside him once, but his heart remained locked. Yet on WhatsApp family groups, he still dropped love emojis under her pictures, making cousins and aunties type, "Chai, si lovo." So that morning, when they dressed for his uncle's birthday party, Addis made a quiet promise to herself, the kind that doesn't need drums or witnesses. "Today, I will no longer help you act this fake film." In the car, they rode like strangers, staring out opposite windows. But as soon as they stepped into the packed hall, music blaring, children running around, aunties adjusting gellies, Emeka transformed. His shoulders relaxed, his lips curved, and before Addis could sit fully, he was already calling across the table, "Honey. My baby. Come and sit near your husband." She kept her face calm and took a different chair. He tried again, louder this time, feeling the eyes of his cousins on him. "Honey, come now. You didn't even remind me of that perfume I wanted to buy for you." Addis looked straight at him.
"Me and you never
"Emeka,
had that conversation."
"You and I never had that discussion," she said softly, but the firmness in her voice made one of his friends choke on his drink. Emeka laughed awkwardly and reached for her hand, then up towards her cheek in his usual public display, but Addis gently pushed his hand away. In her heart she said, "Enough is enough." Later, 2 family members came with plates of food, beautifully dished together in one big tray, smiling like matchmakers in an old village tale. "Emeka, you and your wife will eat together," one announced, dropping the tray proudly. Addis smiled politely. "Thank you, sir." Emeka's eyes lit up, this was his perfect stage. "Baby, come, let us eat together," he said warmly. Addis shifted back. "No, eat your own. I will eat mine." The 2 relatives exchanged surprised looks. "Oh, Addis, you must have really wronged him. Oh. See, as you are rejecting his kiss and his food," one joked loudly. Emeka felt heat climb his neck. "Ada, why are you behaving like this?" he whispered, still trying to smile. "Do we eat together at home?" she asked quietly. He blinked. "Ben. At home, do we sit down like this and share one plate?" she repeated, voice calm but slicing straight to the bone. His friends, who had been half listening, burst into rough laughter. One of them clapped and said, "Not true. Oh. Emeka, you know they eat with her for house, but for event you won't make she dey follow script. You know fit force and for here now." The laughter, meant as banter, stabbed Emeka right through his pride. His smile collapsed. Without another word, he pushed the tray slightly away. The jollof rice he normally devoured went untouched. Addis simply pulled the food towards herself, said a soft, "Thank you for the food," and ate quietly while he sat there, eyes dark, feeling as if the whole hall could see through him. When it was time to dance, the MC shouted into the mic, "Where are my couples? Emeka and Addis, come and show us love." Oh. Emeka stood up, grateful for a chance to repair his bruised ego in front of everyone. He stretched his hand towards Addis, hoping she would melt like she always did. She rose, but her face remained tight, her lips pressed together. As they reached the dance floor, he tried to pull her closer by the waist. Adi stepped aside, leaving a clear space between them. He tried again. She brushed his hand off, quick and sharp. Some women at the front row gasped. The MC, sensing drama, chuckled into the microphone. "Oh, Oga Emeka. You are the only one dancing. Oh. What did you do to madam that she is so moody like this?" The crowd laughed, but there was an uncomfortable edge to it now. Adis kept her distance, moving stiffly like a statue forced to tap legs. Every time Emeka reached for her, she removed his hand. To anyone watching, it was no longer entertainment, it was a marriage crack playing out to the rhythm of high life. Within minutes, whispers spread around the hall. "Something is wrong with those two. See as she dey dodge am. Maybe they fought before coming." Adis could feel the murmurs, but for once she refused to cover the crack with a smile. "If you want to pretend, pretend alone," she told herself. When the song ended, Emeka retreated to his seat, wounded and humiliated. His elder sister, Nneka, noticed everything. She had always suspected that Emeka liked public praise a bit too much, but seeing her brother's pride crumble on the dance floor shook her. She pulled Adis aside to a quieter corner near the drink stand. "Ada, talk to me. What is happening?" Tired and hurt, Adis didn't sugarcoat anything. She explained the 3 weeks of silence, the malice over food, the sudden switch to honey, once they reached the venue. Nneka listened, eyes misting. "So you mean he won't talk to you in the house, but in front of people he's calling you baby?" she asked. "Yes, sister. I'm tired of the fake life," Adis replied. "No love at home, but acting all loving in public for people to clap." Nneka sighed deeply. "This one no good at all. Wait here." She called Emeka outside where cars were parked under the yellow security light. "My brother, everybody is talking. They are murmuring that something is wrong. You and your wife must settle this thing. You can't be disgracing her inside and then try to shine on top of her outside." Emeka swallowed hard. "So she ran to tell you everything," he muttered. Nneka looked him straight in the eye. "Be grateful she said something. She could have just packed her bags and gone. Go and talk to your wife like a man, not like a small boy hiding behind public applause." For the first time that evening, Emeka truly looked around. He noticed the way his uncles watched him with narrowed eyes, the way some aunties whispered behind their fans, the way Adis sat alone, staring at her hands. His chest tightened. He suddenly realized that his carefully built image of perfect husband was collapsing, and he was the one holding the hammer. When Adis decided it was time to leave, she stood and went around greeting the elders. Someone asked, "Won't you wait for your husband so you can go together?" "Oh. We didn't come here together," she said politely. "I just want to quickly branch somewhere to get something." The words were harmless on the surface, but Emeka, watching from across the hall, felt them like a slap. They had in fact come together in the same car. By saying they hadn't, Adis was quietly declaring, emotionally, "I am walking alone." He watched her walk out, wrapper swaying, head held high. He didn't follow. Pride nailed his feet to the floor. Only when he got home and saw her handbag on the sofa did the reality hit him. She had reached a breaking point. That night, he didn't switch on the TV. He sat in the sitting room in darkness, replaying the entire day. The relatives' laughter, the MC's joke, the whispers, Adis' firm voice, "Do we eat together at home?" He had hissed at her 1,000 times before, but this time every hiss echoed back as a rebuke. Hours later, Adis came out of the bedroom, already in her nightdress. She saw him sitting there, shoulders slumped. "You really embarrassed me today," he said quietly without looking at her. His voice shook. "I have never been embarrassed like that in my life. You hurt me, Adis. I don't know if I will ever forgive you." She leaned against the doorframe, exhausted. "I am sorry," she answered, "but I am tired of the fake life. Tired of no love at home, then you act all loving in public. You keep malice for weeks, then use honey to cover it when people are watching. I cannot continue like that. Emeka finally looked up and saw something he had ignored for too long, the deep sadness in her eyes. Not the anger of a woman who wanted to win an argument, but the ache of someone who had loved and felt unseen. He had no reply. He just sat there, thinking, not pressing his phone, not watching TV, only thinking. The next day, Emeka went to work but could barely concentrate. Every time he tried to fix a customer's car, his mind wandered back to Addis pushing his hand away. Pride battled with guilt inside him. In the evening, he stopped by his church, the small one on the corner where they rarely saw him during midweek services. He sat at the back, alone. Why do I only know how to love when there is an audience? He asked himself. Why is it easier to give strangers the impression that I'm a good husband than to actually be one in private? He thought of his late father, a man who had never hugged his mother in public but who had also never slept without telling her thank you for the day's meals. Emeka realized he had taken the opposite route, public sweetness, private starvation. For the first time, he bowed his head and prayed, not for promotion, not for money, but for humility. Teach me to love my wife for real, he whispered. Not for the camera, for real. That night, he came home to find Addis folding clothes on the bed. She didn't look up when he entered, she was prepared for more silent treatment. Instead, he sat down beside her, his hands shaking slightly. Ada, he said, voice low, I want us to talk. Please. She paused, surprised. This was not the usual Emeka tone. I have been thinking since yesterday, he continued. You are right. I've been doing show outside and behaving like a stranger inside this house. I've always wanted people to see me as the perfect husband, but I never asked if you actually felt married to me. Tears filled Addis' eyes before she could stop them. Emeka took a deep breath. I am sorry for every time I kept malice for long. I am sorry for punishing you with silence and using you as a prop in front of people. You didn't deserve that. I know one speech won't fix everything, but I want to change. I want to be the same husband at home and outside. He reached for her hand, slowly this time, giving her space to pull away if she wanted. She didn't. Her fingers trembled in his. I forgive you, she whispered, but I need to see the change, Emeka. I can't survive another round of this fake life. You will, he said quietly. By God's grace, you will. Change didn't happen in one dramatic day, but it began in small, consistent ways. The next morning, Emeka greeted her first, with a hug in the kitchen before she could even tie her wrapper properly. He helped her slice vegetables, a task he normally mocked as women work. In the past, if she delayed food, he would hiss and walk out. Now he entered the kitchen and asked, what can I do to make it faster? When neighbors greeted them in the compound, he didn't suddenly switch to honey, honey. Instead, he gently took the bucket from her and carried it himself, not caring who was watching. At night, he turned down the TV volume so they could talk about their day. When small misunderstandings came, because they always do, he forced himself to speak up instead of retreating into silence. The true test came at another family gathering, months later. This time, Emeka and Addis walked into the hall holding in hands, not as actors, but as partners. Before the MC could even call for couples, Emeka leaned over and whispered, can we dance later? I want to hold my wife in public and in private, but I will start here because the music is sweet. When the music started, he didn't wait to be summoned. He stood, extended his hand to Addis with a quiet smile, and she accepted. On the dance floor, he didn't drag her close forcefully, he pulled her gently, searching her eyes. She smiled back, and they moved together, not like two people acting for a crowd, but like two hearts who had fought, hurt each other, and chose to heal. This time, when the MC shouted, oh, si love oh. Emeka, you don't try. Emeka felt no need to exaggerate. He simply kissed Adi's forehead and whispered, "Whether anybody is watching or not, no you I choose." And Adis, resting her head on his chest, knew he meant it. Moral lessons. Love must be consistent. Real love is not a costume worn in front of people and removed at home. A healthy marriage shows care both in the open and behind closed doors. Communication is better than silent punishment. Keeping malice may feel powerful for a moment, but it slowly destroys trust. Speaking honestly even when it's uncomfortable allows healing to begin. Pride can destroy what applause cannot save. Emeka's desire to look perfect almost cost him his marriage. It is better to be genuinely kind in private than to seek praise from outsiders. Boundaries can wake people up. Adi's decision to stop playing along with the show forced Emeka to confront his behavior. Sometimes, quietly refusing to enable bad habits is an act of self-respect and love. Change is possible. No matter how long someone has behaved wrongly, sincere remorse plus consistent action can transform a relationship. Forgiveness and effort from both sides can turn a painful story into a new beginning. In the end, Emeka learned that the greatest stage was not the crowded family hall with lights and music, but his own living room, where only one audience mattered, the woman who carried his name and his heart. The end.